All right. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Liberty Dad Podcast, a discussion on politics and culture. I'm your host, DL, America's most objective libertarian. Tuning in live, thank you so much for giving me your time this evening. Normally, I'm saying this morning. I almost messed up, but I got it. And I want you to remember, folks, this show, it does not run on freedom fumes alone. So if you're watching me on Rumble, smash that green $ during the show to drop a Rumble rant. It's kind of like, tossing me a cold one after a long day's worth of work, right? I'm used to saying it in the morning, and it's kind of weird to say it in the morning. I probably should switch that up. Anyway, if you want to go all in, click subscribe. For $5 a month, your support helps me fight the good fight. All right, let's get into it. We have some quick announcements really quickly here. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., I will have another interview. This week, I am just running a marathon of interviews. Tomorrow, I'll have Matthew Morgan on. He is running for New York City Council for Brooklyn's 39th district. So I'll have him on. We're going to have a chit chat, talk about what he's up to over there in New York. And then tomorrow night, we have rescheduled Roberto Torres for Toledo mayor. He will be on tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Look forward to both of those. However, in the meantime, today we have, who do we have? We have Alan Rubio for Everett City Council out of Washington. Everett, totally butchered that up. Let me start over. Rewind. All right, tonight we have Alan Rubio out of Washington for Everett City Council District 4. He's joining me to discuss his run for City Council. So before I fumble this anymore, let's bring him in and see what he's up to over there in Washington. Alan, how are you? I feel like I'm messing it all up today.
Hey everybody. I'll try. How's everything? Hi everybody. And it's an honor for me, to be on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So let's dive right into this. You're running for city council out there in Everett. So this is, I told you, I talked to Alan before the show and I said, hey, man, this is a local race. So people, since it's broadcast pretty much everywhere, people aren't necessarily going to know, anything about Everett. So we're going to start by just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, like what you do, what motivates you, all whatever you want to say, whatever you think is important.
Yeah, my name is Alan. I'm from Dominican Republic. You guys probably remember the little island in the Caribbean. Um, I moved to the United States in 2011. Since then, I've been living in Washington State. Not to confuse with Washington D.C. I always
Mhm.
clarify that for family and friends.
Right.
And you're probably gonna hear a lot about Seattle. The main city of the state. Not the capital, but the main economic hub of this state. Seattle Mariners, all that
Mhm.
stuff. Is where Amazon started. I think it's where Microsoft's based.
Mhm.
So Everett, you may call it a suburb city that is in the surroundings, or what you may call the greater metropolitan area of Seattle. So
Okay.
not terribly close to Seattle, but in the surroundings. Like I get there in like 30 minutes. Um, it's a small city, relatively, right? Not even 120,000 residents.
Okay.
But we have the biggest factory in the world. It's for the Boeing airplanes. It's one of the biggest factories in the world. We have it over here. It's actually where I work. I'm a contractor. We do scaffolding for them. Temporary platforms,
Mhm.
infrastructure services, things like that. That's what I've been doing for the last 14 years. And all that time I've been an Everett resident. Um, Also being somewhat active libertarian, call me activist. I go to the yearly meetings, and protesting against the duopoly, if you may, every here and then. Until one day I told myself, you know what, I should run for office. How about running for a local race? I think it's really important libertarians, start understanding that, we got to start small. We are small. We got to start small. These local races are very important, putting our names out there, putting the ideas out there. Because most people will see us as, the weird tribe, those libertarian guys.
Mhm.
Apparently, we have a very bad reputation in this state specifically. But I'm working to change that. And man, the race is going good. I'm going to say that. I'm one of the candidates that has got the most donations. I've been endorsed by the fire department and by our local police department. And labor unions. I got unions endorse me. As incredible as that may sound. So it's been really good. It's been a remarkable journey. And I want to encourage. I can encourage enough, more libertarians to start running for office. Be connected with what your community needs. The stuff we're gonna talk about is gonna be in relation to what you can do from the office you're aiming to. You're not gonna talk about end the Fed. If you're running for council, but pretty much that's the sense and what I've been learning. Like we gotta be pragmatic and realistic with what we have, but we need to go out there and fight. So that would be my message to all libertarians out there who might be interested. Like, go ahead and do it, dude. Like, it is a little bit of work. You gotta challenge yourself sometimes, and take away some time from family and friends and do this. But it's gonna pay in the end, and it's been going good for me. That's what I can tell you.
So that's interesting. You said you have the most donations currently of any of the candidates.
Oh yeah, there's many races going on in the city right now. We got the mayoral race, and then we got it's a district city, so we got a race for district 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, the mayoral races, it's something bigger. It's for the whole city. Myself, I'm just a district. And out of all my, at first, it used to be three of us, three candidates for the race. I was the one, that have raised the most money within my own race. But compared to the other races, 1, 2, and 3, I'm probably the second candidate that have raised the most money. I've gotten, a lot of interesting donations, like people being liking my ideas and my views. and
Mhm.
suddenly I get donations from people, in groups I didn't even expect, to be honest. Um, and it's been, it's been amazing, and it's been helping a lot. And I think, I'm in the right track. Yeah, I think I tripled the amount of money my opponent has raised. So it's people is out there willing to help, and if you do the work. So
Mhm.
I think it was very motivating. It was really, I was really impressed, to be
Right,
honest.
right.
I think I'm closer to the $30,000 mark.
Okay.
It's a small race in a small city, like just a district of this city. So it's really impressive, and I've raised more money than many incumbents that are running for re-election. So
Mhm.
it's been really good. So I feel pretty good about this race, and I think I'll be able to get in there and put the ideas in practice.
So let me ask you, because you said a moment ago, you said, if I heard you correctly, that libertarians don't have the greatest reputation. Did you say in the city or the state?
I would say in this state, yeah.
Okay, state. What
We
about the
can,
city?
ah, well, I want to say probably, since it's a smaller city,
Mhm.
people will know more about them in the Seattle, the bigger cities.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I want to say specifically in in Everett, not much is known other than, oh, what type of libertarian he is.
Mhm.
Is he for positive rights or not?
Mhm.
Positive rights. You know what I'm saying? So I get that asked a lot, and people talk commenting about me on Reddit who ask those type of questions. Um, but yeah, the thing is, a couple years ago there was a little scandal with a member of the Libertarian Party who was trying to, uh, protest. I think at an event, and the things got a little heated and a little violent. I think it was a few years
Mhm.
ago. So we have the bad reputation by that one person that is the
Mhm.
only libertarian they've heard about. So not much
Gotcha.
is known, but the one reference is not very positive, I guess.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, at the same time, I can say that it's a pretty blue city. I gotta say that. Normally, it's very Democrat led type of city.
Mhm.
Heavy Democrat voters, blue voters. So I kind of want to say it's not as negative to be libertarian as, for example, to be Republican. Apparently, so
Gotcha.
yeah, kind of like in the gray area where people don't know much about libertarians, but at the same time, not many reasons to hate us as much, I guess.
Okay.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I guess that's giving me a little bit of opportunity, because yeah, I ended up having alliance endorsements and friends in both sides of the aisle, and I think it's the little gray area that we can take advantage of.
Gotcha. So when so it sounds like you've got a heavy Democrat area, and then you've got the Republicans that aren't so well liked, and then somewhere in the middle are the libertarians who people don't really know much. So when you're talking to people, when you're going out to events and you're talking to them, and you say, "I'd like," now your race is nonpartisan, correct?
Oh yeah, it's non-partisan.
Okay.
This is one of the states where on the local races you don't declare a party. It obviously becomes partisan in practice.
Hmm.
My opponents will, brag about being endorsed by LD38 Democrats, yada yada. So it becomes, in the practice, it becomes partisan, but in paper, no. We don't declare party in paper.
Gotcha. So what is the response to you when you talk to people and you're like, yeah, I'm from the Libertarian Party, or I have libertarian ideas, or any way that you mention the idea of libertarian, or do you just not lead with that? You just kind of let it pop up, maybe if it does, maybe if it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it's I get people ask me the question because you got the people that really do the research, have
Mhm.
enter my social media and look at everything about me, and will ask me, "Are you really libertarian? What's your stance on this and that and that?" You know, I will run into those kind of people. But for the most part, there's some pressing issues that we have in the city. It's gonna be, public safety. We don't have the best reputation on that regard. Housing affordability. We got a problem with homelessness.
Mhm.
We have a big situation with a lot of our. I'm gonna use that term, unhoused
Mhm. Mhm.
residents that are sleeping on the sidewalk. So those are the topics that you end up talking about the most because it's what going out door to door, talking to people. You got a door knock a lot.
Gotcha.
That's what people bring up. And so yeah, partisan conversations don't happen too often. It has to be someone, you find that one guy who is kind of a politically involved or very aware person. But for the most part, it's your everyday family guy or single mom who just wants to know if rent is gonna go up or
Mhm.
if the street is gonna be safe. So to be honest, I don't get to conversate a lot about the party or
Mhm.
partisan positions.
Gotcha.
It's more about our local challenges, and I would recommend you gotta make it about that, because that's what people's gonna pretty much vote for. We gotta be pragmatic on that part.
Right.
But yeah, there's that one person that will ask me, "Do you believe in positive rights? What's your opinion on tariffs? Yada
Right.
yada. What
Right.
party you belong to?" Um, and I will say, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a third party type guy. I have voted for both parties before. Normally I vote for a third party. I'm a weird guy, and actually people take it in a positive way. Like, oh, interesting. You're kind of an independent.
Mm.
Being a
Mm.
libertarian is like they relate that to being independent, I guess. Um, so yeah, conversations don't normally go into partisan policies or conversations. Mostly, it's gonna be the local situations that you have in your city.
Gotcha. So the city council, so you're running for District 4, and, there are 4 districts, right? So it's a 4-member council with 1 mayor, is that correct?
Oh, actually, it could be five. The thing is, one of them is going unopposed. So, that's why I didn't even mention it earlier. He's going unopposed. He's not even campaigning,
Mm.
which is District 5. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 is contested. But then there's 2 at large positions, but they go, in 2 years from now. They're separated by 2 years.
Okay.
So you have 5 council members that are district plus 2 at large, and then the mayor.
Okay. Gotcha. And let me ask you, just based on your impression, you don't have to give me names necessarily, um, of the other districts that you think might, like when you're looking at District 1, 2, and 3, 5, you said is kind of like nobody's contesting that one, and then the 2 at larges, and then the mayor. Well, is the mayor race running right now too, or is that
Oh
next
yeah,
year?
she's running for re-election.
Okay, so you have
Very, very tight race.
So you have effectively 5 seats and the mayor that are running for office, 2 seats that are at large. Those 2 seats are not up for election until next year. So out of all of those, based on who might get elected and who is already elected, what is your feeling, presuming that you do get elected? Do you think it's gonna be a huge challenge based on who is likely to be in office that you'll have to work with? Or do you already have good relationships with them? Or just kinda give me a feel for the challenges that you may or may not face.
Got it. Well, I'm endorsed by one of the at-large positions,
Mhm.
uh, council members, and by the vice president of the council.
Okay.
Also, which is position 5. He's running unopposed. He has endorsed me, Mr.
Oh,
Salingo.
okay.
Uh, and also, so the two of them have an incredible relationship. Same thing with the president of the council. He's position 3, also running for re-election, but I think he's gonna win easy. It seems like he's gonna stay there. He hasn't publicly endorsed me, but we have a good relationship. A
Okay.
very nice guy. The other districts um, don't have the best of relationships, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
because there's been stuff in the past, like an email was leaked by one of the council members, and they were saying, "Oh, we gotta find somebody to run for District 4. We gotta stop this Rubio guy. He's dangerous."
Mm. Are
Uh,
you dangerous? You don't
uh,
look dangerous.
I guess. Well, I guess they went through, I don't know, my Twitter, and they didn't like my anti-state or
Mm.
anti-government posts.
Mm.
I remember sharing a meme about is this giant, monster talking to the citizen. I want you to pay me taxes so I protect you.
Right.
And the citizen says, "Protect me from what? From what I'm gonna do to you if you don't pay me taxes."
Right, right. Yeah, I've seen
You know,
that
it's,
meme
it,
before.
You probably seen that one. So I had that one on my Twitter, things like that.
I
And
gotcha.
apparently the whole local political establishment was talking about it. And then
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
because they're like, oh,
You are
this guy's anti-government. What the hell?
right.
And he's
Wow.
running for office. Weird.
That's
And then
impressive.
yeah, and then for my campaign kickoff, I was a little goofy, to be honest. At
Mhm.
first, I didn't take it as serious. So for my campaign kickoff, I put on the Infinity Gauntlet on one of my hands. I used it as a reference to, like, being, tough on crime,
Mhm.
because I think it's time to get a little tough on, we have a problem with property crimes and
Mhm.
crimes in general. Shoplifting, it's a hot topic in the city.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I support getting a little strict. As
Okay.
you may imagine, as a blue city, we have in place very light and soft policies. So, I'm the guy coming and, talking tough and saying we gotta do this with an iron fist. Like, I got the Infinity Gauntlet in my hand,
Mhm.
and everybody was talking about it. Like, in the whole local political scene, everybody was talking about it. It's one of the most viewed videos from any campaign
Wow.
in the local race
Wow.
because
That's pretty
apparently,
cool.
yeah, it was a little scandalous. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Uh,
Absolutely. So let me ask you
I
then.
changed the video settings to private, but you guys be able to see it later.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so there's obviously a few council members that don't like me. I
Mhm.
would say people in position 1 and 2; those are our more progressive districts.
Mhm.
When it comes to the mayor candidates, I have met and talked with both of them. Experienced people; they've been around for a while.
Mhm.
And I had a meeting with the mayor, and she wanted to meet me and see what's up with me or something. So we had a coffee one time. Very nice lady, incredible person. I may disagree with some, policies here and there, like
Mhm.
everything, right? But for the most part, I have a good relationship with the possible next mayor. So, I don't see it a problem, and I'm trying to make peace with the rest of everybody because we got to work together,
Mhm.
and get stuff done. So, I'm not holding it to everybody. I'm open to work with anyone as long
Right.
as it's for the benefit of our city.
So let me ask you then, have you run before?
So I ran for office before a couple of years ago, water district,
Okay.
I even smaller race, water
Okay.
district. To be honest, it's not really what I wanted to go for. I always wanted to go for council.
Okay.
Uh, but I think that at that time, the position I wanted to was not, I mean, a couple of years ago, was not up for election.
Mhm.
So, I decided to run for whatever, right? Just to, get a hold of it, grab experience. I ended up meeting a lot of people, a lot of incredible local leaders, candidates from other cities, and that has become in handy now. So, even when you lose, I didn't make it past the primary on that race. But even if you lose, you win. Like, you're gonna gain experience. You're gonna put
Mhm.
your name out there. Um, I barely campaigned, and I got like over 4,000 votes on that one. So it was, it was very motivating. I was, oh wow, if I work harder next time, I'm gonna get more votes.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that's my one
Okay.
experience. Water district couple of years before, and now for council, which is the one I always really wanted.
Right. Yeah. The reason that I ask is because the saying that I've heard before is the first time you run to get your name out there. The second time you run to win. So I was just curious, like how you're ruffling feathers, and I'm like, is this your first go, and you're already ruffling feathers and getting people to talk about you? Because that would be really fascinating. It's still fascinating nonetheless that you've ruffled the feathers from a couple memes and maybe a video or something like that, especially when it comes to policy, which I think is a good segue. Let's talk about some of it because you've got exactly three items on your platform, and so we could actually like because there's only three, which is good. It's not like oh no, it's only three, but I'm just saying like it makes it easy to talk about all of them. So let's kind of walk through them. You mentioned public safety. What's going on in Everett that causes public safety to be a problem? Let's kind of get a vision and understanding of what the problem is currently.
Yes, it is the hottest topic in the city. If you hear all the other candidates, look at their platforms, all of them, even the most progressive ones, have to talk about public safety because that's become the number one most prevalent thing. I was like I was mentioning to you earlier, property crimes have been uh, on the rise in the last,
Mhm.
I want to say, 4 or 5 years. We already are the car theft capital of our region. At least in the county, we have the highest and craziest
Wow.
numbers of car theft, more than the average national level.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of problems with shoplifting, drug dealing, pimping.
Mhm.
All that kind of stuff happens in the city. I have to say that sadly. So whenever you talk to anybody, I remember having a conversation with this nice lady. I was door knocking, and she got a beautiful garden, incredible house. We chatted for a good 30 minutes, and towards the end, she told me, "You know what, Mr. Rubio, I'm a die-hard liberal." She was able to tell that I was not, extremely progressive or Democrat, right?
Mhm.
And she told me, I'm a die-hard liberal, but I agree that public safety has to be addressed. We are concerned.
Mm.
So there's not even a divide in this topic. It's the hardest thing in the city. It has to be the number one thing in your platform for
Mm.
cities like this. So one problem we're facing it's keeping retaining talent in our local police force. We are around 20, 25 men short. There's been points where we are 30 police officers short from what's recommended to the amount of population and the city side and the size of the city.
Mhm.
um, so what's happening is we are recruiting people. People's coming in and signing up, but they're leaving 2, 3 years later for other
Why?
city. They get an offer some other city and they leave.
So more money?
For more money, and I guess you got nicer cities that are
Mm.
easier to be a police at.
Okay.
Have to be honest with you about it. Man, we got real nice fancy cities around that are very safe and quiet. You want to be a police on those. We gotta understand that. So we really gotta work on the morale of our local officers, and retaining talent, and we gotta work on policies that even if it comes to like, and it's not even we don't even have to increase budget or taxes for this. It's already budgeted. It's just that we're not retaining the amount of officers we need.
Mm.
So it comes to like them feeling supported, feeling that they have a local government that backs them and don't insult them. Um, and any other something as simple as helping with their relocation when they're coming from other city or other state.
Mhm.
Things like that we can help with. But we have to fill our ranks in the local police force. We
Gotcha.
cannot have like cars patrolling around and you only see one officer inside. You're supposed to have two. That would be the ideal. But we are in that situation when they're stretched thin. So public safety, that's the kind of challenges we're facing. And without becoming a police state, but we have to have a decent level of protection,
Right.
especially for property crimes. Property crimes is the most prevalent case that we're facing in this city.
Mm. So what is it about the Everett Police Officer Association, they have endorsed you. And so what is it about what you have said or promised or campaigned on? What is it that got you this endorsement? If everybody has to talk about public safety, what distinguishes you in terms of applicable ideas that, stand out from the rest of the candidates that maybe didn't get an endorsement?
Well, I did something very libertarian, if you may.
Mhm.
So we had a meeting. They have their association meeting. All of the members are sitting there, and candidates are coming in and out, talking with them. And I was straightforward with them. I didn't go with a pretty talk, with a little political talk. The boss words. No, no, no. I went straight to them. I was standing there, and I told them, um, after introducing myself, I know you guys are facing challenges. I know this city is dangerous. I know you guys' job is dangerous. I recognize that. And if I'm in the council, I'm going to back you 100% because I need you guys to do your job. Like I understand you guys' situation, and me count me in for backing you because there's been debates of cutting funding from public safety, or we're spending too much money on police. Some council members have said, and I straight told them, hey, that's not going to happen, and that you're not going to have that vote from me. I'm going to back you guys 100% on what you guys need to do your job better. I'm not here to talk to you pretty and to give you the political buzzwords. I'm going to back you guys because we need this city to be a safe place. Like I really kept it short and straightforward, and I guess they really like that. They endorsed me. They sent me the email like a week after that.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what they want basically. They want a council member that is not going to be criticizing them. The anti-police sentiment still lurking around, especially in blue cities, and that's what they want to hear. Like I know that as libertarians, we also have our little misgivings about authority in general. I get that,
Mhm.
but you need the people that is going to enforce your property rights. If your car gets stolen, if you get assaulted in the middle of the street, you want to have enough a police force, ranked enough for where they can come in and help you. So I just straight told them I'm gonna back you guys. I'm gonna be there with you. There's gonna be no cuts. Any cut, any resolution against police or their job is not gonna have my vote. I straight told them that. So I think that resonated with them, and that's what they want from council members. They don't want the pretty talk and the buzzwords. They want someone who is going to back them, and and not protest against them like has happened with other council members.
Right. So how do you balance then a lot of libertarian ideas where there are concerns about maybe over policing or where police go too far? How do you balance that with your promise to support them 100%? Or maybe it's just not a problem right now, and that's something that you'll deal with if it comes up. I don't know, but just kind of help me understand, how, because a lot of libertarians, when they hear I will
Oh yeah,
support the
no, no, and
police
I get it. Let me
100%,
tell you,
they're
I
going to be
totally
like,
understand. Oh yeah,
what?
oh yeah, I totally understand. Uh, well, it's gonna be different for every city and every situation, right? The thing is, here in Everett, we're in a desperate situation with crime. Like a couple years ago, Walmart, the historical Walmart, the first Walmart in the region, closed down. That lot is empty, and now we got another store, Fred Meyer's, that announced they just recently closed. And when they made the statement to the newspapers, they said shoplifting and crime were the main reasons why their business was not profitable and they had to close.
Mm,
So, like, we are in a little bit of a desperate situation where we have to pick between, having more police presence and more police support, or keep allowing crime to keep closing our stores. So yeah, we are in a little bit of a desperate moment where, we're gonna pick the lesser evil.
mhm,
Let me put it that way. And it's sad that uh, and again, I also understand the doubts and the misgivings, right, about
mm.
police and authority in general. But sometimes we are in the situation where we gotta pick one or the other.
Okay.
Do we prefer crime, more car theft, more
Mhm.
shoplifting, more stores closure, or we want to have more police and more enforcement?
Gotcha.
Uh, um, I decided to go with this latter.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let
But
me
again,
ask
it's
you.
because we are in this situation.
Okay.
Man, if your city is safe and you guys live in the country, you don't have a lot of problems with crime and
Mhm.
car theft or shoplifting. F the police, right? But is the particular situation that our city is. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be a case by case thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I prefer the police officer to the criminal.
Gotcha. So do you guys have legislation either in the city or in the state that has contributed to some of these property crimes, like maybe legislation that, like I know one of the complaints right now on social media is that criminals will go in and they'll get a light sentence or they'll be let out or whatever. There's all these different things that happen. And it basically allows them to continue committing crimes even before they've been judged for the crime that they're accused of. So do you have those kind of laws that are contributing, or is it really just a matter of police and needing more support?
Well, I can say that the state in general is
Mhm,
a little bit has a reputation of a catch and release type
mhm,
of legal system. We have a little bit of that. We are pretty light. There's a lot of repeat offenders that they're out committing crimes again.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, again, that's gonna be probably a little bit above our city level. It's more justice.
mhm,
Um, we do have a little bit of that, and sadly, that's the state. It's a blue state. I
mhm,
probably gotta point that out again, and so it tends to be a little lighter on
mhm,
centric crimes. Um, but what we want to do is, as a city, what we can do is be scary enough so they don't commit the
mhm.
crime here, even if they're gonna get a life sentence or a catch and release. So that's the most you can do when the rest of the regional and state legislation is not on your side.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, there's a little bit of lightness, and it's been on debate with the no cash bail, things like
Mhm.
no money bail, things like that. So yeah, you can say that when it comes to the justice system, yeah, we are a little bit hand tied, and we have it where you can get away with things.
Gotcha.
Um, and it's then we have to go to the, I want to say, second option, which is being the scary city. Then sadly, having the more police presence to prevent us from being the hub for crime, because we are the biggest city in the county and the one with the more jobs and the one with more population and things and activities, things and that. So yeah, we're very attractive to be the place to go do commit crime, even if you're from other city
Okay.
nearby. So yeah, it's kind of we're kind of to the point where we gotta become a little bit scary, a little bit scarier ourselves,
Mhm.
uh, y- you know, because the rest of the state and legislation is not gonna help us.
Right. And then I assume since you have you're in Washington, it's a blue state, the laws that allow like you don't have good what I would say laws that favor guns and self-defense and stuff like that, correct? So even the citizens they're limited in what they can do, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, you always have the citizen on citizen arrest. I
Mhm.
guess that's more of a probably federal level type thing. But yeah, it's the general perception of if you do something, you're gonna have to defend yourself. You're gonna have to go to court. They're not gonna be nice to you. They're not gonna be understanding of your situation.
Mhm.
You're gonna be treated as a criminal yourself.
Right.
So even legally, I'm not gonna say it's terrible. Yeah, you're allowed to defend yourself and self defense and things like that. But it's more of the perception that you're not gonna be treated,
Mhm.
fairly, or like you're gonna be seen as another criminal for defending your property. And if you shoot, you're gonna have to give a lot of explanations. You might spend a couple nights in jail, so people don't even want to do it. It's kind of like more of a, I want to say, perception that people have and the idea, and that,
Mhm.
that has been, gone around from cases that we've seen. So yeah, legally, yeah, you can defend yourself, you can defend
Okay.
your property, but it's kind of like, mm, man, in the meantime, I'm gonna be treated as another criminal.
Right. Okay.
Sadly,
Yeah.
yeah. So people
And
have that
and
perception. People don't even want to do anything.
right, and I'm just trying to get a sense of what it's like, because I know that there are many factors that go into, what causes crime. If you
Mm.
have no police or really relaxed police that aren't really doing their jobs, if you have citizens that can't defend themselves, then, in my opinion, that sets the stage for people to be criminals because you really take away the immediate cost of being a criminal. So, and I think it's
Exactly.
worth knowing that because if those things are the case, then your only option might be to say, "Hey, I guess we've gotta be more supportive of the police because there aren't any other options to work with." So, let's move on
Exactly.
to housing. So, housing affordability. What's going on with housing? Like, housing affordability seems to be a problem everywhere, but tell me specifically in Everett what you guys got going on there, and then if you can, let's tie in the homelessness issue there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much a general issue, right? You guys probably heard, about Seattle, all the encampments, people sleeping in the streets,
Mhm,
rent being, taking, I want to say, because, they consider affordable, that you can pay for your house when it's 30% or less of your income.
Mhm.
Our AMI, it's about 50%, around 50%. You gotta spend, half of what you make on rent or mortgage. Um, and that implies that a lot of people are gonna be able to make it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have a problem with supply and demand,
Mhm.
um, where we got a lot of people wanting to move into the city. Like I was telling you, we have an airport right here. We got Boeing factory right here.
Mhm.
We got some Amazon storage and processing centers. Like there's a lot of work. But that also means that you have a lot of incoming, new residents, people that come for that job. And it puts pressure on the available units. So a big pressing topic, it's the project for the plan, development plan. I don't agree with development plans, right? It's like planning how many people, how many houses we gotta have in 20 years.
Mhm.
As a libertarian, we don't agree with that sentiment or idea. But there's a strategic plan that we gotta double the amount of units we have in the city by 2044, something like that.
You have to
Uh,
double it?
yeah,
Wow.
for the projected growth for the city, we pretty much have to double the amount of units available we're gonna have. So that implies if we want to do that, and obviously the city's not going to be able to pay for all this, we gotta bring private investment,
Mhm.
developers to invest. And there's been a complaint from developers that the county in general, the city in specific, has a lot of restrictions to building. For example, there's some projects that require 20% of open space.
Mm.
Like, so you're gonna have some lots that are all shaped or a little bit small. You can probably fit in a standalone townhouse, but because of the 20% requirement to have open space, the lot is empty. Nobody can build anything in it.
Mm.
So what I want is to cut some of those regulations, stupid unnecessary regulations, make it easier with the permitting. Sometimes the developers get the permit and it expires in like 2 years, and then they gotta renew it again, adding cost and time. We gotta extend that. We gotta make it easier to build.
Mhm.
So what I'm pushing is more for more zoning flexibility, allowing for more options and less restrictions, less requirements to build in these lots. We got a lot of lots that are empty, but they just don't will meet certain criteria. So if we want to have more units, we want to have more supply of units, more houses, more apartments, whatever you want to build, right? Condominiums. There's certain rules in the city that we have to flexibilize, and the zoning in general. We gotta cut certain rules and make it easier to build.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm pushing for, and I've been seeing it in a lot of the other platforms. Zoning flexibility, streamline permitting, making it easier for builders to build, and
Mhm.
even you within your own house. There's this all these rules and restrictions on your shed, what you can have on your yard or not.
Mhm.
Like, it's your property. You should be able to build, an extra room back there if you want. So I'm definitely pushing for more flexibility and even eliminating some of these dumb rules
Mhm.
because we gotta let the city grow and let people build whatever they want to build in their property, right? So I'm pushing for zoning flexibility. Otherwise, we're gonna keep having this problem where yeah, we get more and more companies coming in and creating more and more jobs. When it comes to enterprises, we're growing at a really good pace, but that comes with more people wanting to live in the city, more people having activity and working in the city. So we need more units. We need
Right.
more options. So that's something that I'm pushing forward, and actually that has got me a lot of support and donations from developers and real estate agents, things like that. That's part of the people supporting me because I believe we need to be flexible and let people
Right.
build. You know, and that's how people's gonna be able to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read from I'm gonna read from your website, and then I'm gonna read from your opponent's website. Was it Louis Burbino? Is that his name?
Oh yeah,
Burbano.
Mr. Lewis, very nice guy. I ain't gonna lie, we have a good relationship.
Okay. Well, hopefully I don't ruin it. Um, I don't think I will. I just want to read. I just want to compare and contrast what you're saying on your site, what he's saying on his site. So, under housing affordability, you said to tackle housing affordability, it's essential to reduce barriers, eliminate red tape, and streamline unnecessary regulations. Totally on board with that, right? 100%. By incentivizing new housing options, we can help make the dream of owning a home a reality for more individuals and families. Embracing innovative solutions will pave the way for a brighter future in housing. Okay. So I like that first sentence very much. Right off the bat, you lead with, "Hey, we've got obstructions. Let's remove them. Let's get rid of these
Exactly.
barriers." Now let me go to your opponent here. And he says on his website, low income housing. He said the population of Everett is expected to almost double in the next 2 decades. In order to meet the need, the city has approved new zoning regulations. So, new regulations, right? And a housing action plan that can accommodate this growth. So, there's the central planning that libertarians, of course, would oppose. I believe that these new units must be affordable for current Everett residents and should add to the city's character and quality of life. These developments must include parks and natural areas, foster opportunities for small businesses, and maintain the diversity and culture of our neighborhood. So it sounds to me like what you said is there are barriers that are in the way. Let's get them out of the way. And your opponent's saying, hey, we have a vision and we're going to follow and make sure that the building fits this vision, which would include some regulations. So, I mean, it's what he says. Approved. Well,
Oh yeah,
not him. He says the city has approved new zoning regulations. Um, so I think that's an interesting contrast, and it doesn't strike me as a surprise at all that developers would support you because at the end of the day, there have got to be regulations and things that can be, barriers that can be removed to help.
exactly.
Because if I'm the builder and I have to meet a particular regulation, there's probably a cost associated with that. That cost goes to
Totally.
the home or whoever buys the home. You remove the cost. Now I don't have a reason to pass that cost on to the customer, right? Which
Yeah,
addresses the affordability. So I thought that
yeah,
was
and there's
interesting.
other. Oh yeah, and there's other stuff like, for example, certain projects X size, right? You require to have a 15% of affordable units. Um, don't get me wrong, I want affordable units, right?
Mhm,
I want it because we're gonna have more supply. But when you force them like that, what's happening is, and this comes from developers, right? When you demand X percentage of the units to be affordable, you still gotta build with the same quality. You still gotta build the same unit.
mhm,
It's gonna have the same. This unit that it's affordable has the same cost as the non-affordable one. So now they have to transfer the cost of the affordable units to the non-affordable, making it even more expensive.
mhm,
So then they have a harder time to selling those other ones. So again, it's just rules that just add problems.
mhm,
So what ends up happening is, okay, they end up not building. We have a lot of empty lots that are not being developed because of rules like this. Um, and yeah, you can definitely see that. Yeah, I think that's not the way. Like, you're not gonna direct and tell people what they have to build or what they need. It's gonna be, supply and demand. Let people be creative. Let
right,
builders build and let buyers buy. It's gonna be buyers ultimately who decide if they want this or not.
right,
So I'm more for removing rules and regulations. We gotta make it easier for builders to build. Hey, this land you cannot have the 10% or the 20% open space. Whatever, please, whatever you can build, build it. But
mhm,
we need more units, right? Um, but yeah, Louis is more like, we should make sure they are affordable. The thing
mhm,
is, it's gonna be affordable for the end user, let's say, but it's not gonna be affordable for everybody else, starting with
right.
the developers.
Well, somebody's paying that
So
cost, right?
exactly, someone will have.
Somewhere, somebody's gonna pay the cost, and whoever has to pay that cost, they're going to adapt to that cost in some way.
Exactly. So yeah, I just think it's, his approach will pretty much be a stalemate where we stay in the same situation we are right now, where
Mhm,
developers don't want to invest. Like recently, we allowed, I think 15, 20-story buildings.
mhm,
A couple years ago, we allowed it. The city used to restrict that, how high the buildings are supposed to be. So they recently relaxed it a little bit, but there's no project, nobody's building a building that high because, yeah, yeah, you allow me to build it now, but all the restrictions and the extra cost you're adding me is not incentivizing me to build it.
mhm,
So those buildings that we now allow are not happening. You know what I'm saying? So it's less rules, not more.
right. Let's talk about homelessness. What's going on with the I think you mentioned it early on. So what's happening with is homelessness is it a problem with, veterans? Is it people that are being just priced out of homes? Is it people that just don't want to work? I mean, what's going on down there or up there, I guess?
Well, I will tell you, it's a very complicated issue. It will be, it has many roots and it has, many consequences. But we have some encampments here and there.
Mhm,
We have people, sadly, for many reasons, including addiction, simply aren't able to keep a stable home and they're sleeping in the street. It's gotten so bad that as a patch solution, the city has this no seed, no lie rules, kind of like certain areas and certain neighborhoods,
mhm,
our economic center and certain places, you're not allowed to like sit and lie around or loiter, right?
mhm,
Because it's gotten so bad that we have had to. I mean, that's kind of like a patch, right? You're not solving
mhm.
the problem.
Right.
So the cities like what they say because other cities have different rules and are a little bit more strict.
Mhm,
For example, the second biggest city neighboring with us, it's called Marysville. The Yeah, they have a more conservative leadership over there. They have a zero tolerance program. Like you either gotta go to these classes, get you rehabilitated and
mhm,
put you in training school, things like that, and help you get up. You either gotta take that, or you're gonna go to jail, or you gotta leave the city premises.
mm,
Well, what's happening is that yeah, they're leaving the city premises and they're coming to Everett that doesn't have
mm.
these kind of rules. So it's kind of like we've been intaking and dealing with a bigger problem from the whole county. Um,
So they're
so
choosing the path of least resistance.
yeah. So what we what I say we gotta do because Everett is we are the biggest city and the economic center of the county. We gotta use that influence to bring the whole county to the table, all the mayors, all the council members, the county council, and come with a holistic countywide plan because yeah, to be honest, it's what you may call the emergency situation. We're not gonna let people just die in the street, right?
Mhm,
It doesn't matter how much of a libertarian you are. We understand that we gotta put a little bit to help those friends that the state itself have put in that situation.
mhm,
Um, so what I support is Everett alone is not gonna fix this. We have to involve the whole county because it's like the rest of the cities and county is just leaving us to our own. Uh, because we are, like I was telling you, the more relaxed city with the
mhm,
more relaxed rules and regulations on certain topics. So we gotta bring down the whole county to work with us on this because this requires a lot of investment on mental health,
mhm,
transitional housing, training to get people back on their feet, helping get a job, so people can stand on their own and not be dependent, on help or aid, and they're not sleeping on the streets. We, encampments, it breaks your heart when you drive by and you see them, you see someone sleeping on the sidewalk. So yeah, we have a little bit of that going on, and yeah, housing affordability and cost is also going to help a little bit of that. It's been a little bit of it is going to be people who just can't pay rent anymore,
mm,
even if they have the rest of their life together, right?
right.
So we definitely got to have a county-wide program, and we're not just passing the hot ball around from city to city, which seems to be the case. What's happening lately? I think our city should use their influence to bring the whole county, and actually have a unified plan, to help people get back on their feet. Because we want them to be, self-sustainable citizens to have a job and do their own thing, and yeah, but not leaving them sleeping on the streets, which
Mhm.
is sadly what's happening right now.
Gotcha. And then I know we're getting close to time here, but this one should be easy. Transparency. This is your third one. Is the city council just not very transparent? Do they do a lot of executive meetings, meetings where they're closed doors, or what's going on? How are you going to improve transparency there?
Yeah, one one topic that has been brought up by the people, and it's something that I've noticed. Um, we are a small city, right? Our budget is, we are less than 120,000 residents, and our city budget is around 700 million.
Mhm.
A considerable amount of money, right? But at the same time, it should be easy to look at the city's, budget plan and understand where the money is going and where it's being spent.
Mhm.
But when people want to look at the budget presented by the mayor, and it's not this mayor, it's something that it's always been like that. It's like this 700-page booklet with, I don't know, all kinds of buzzwords and vague terminology. They want you to get tired and not keep reading. Like, I don't know. So people have the feeling that we don't understand where our money is going,
Mm.
where the money is being spent. Uh, I'm like, man, I wanna know why we're spending so much money on X thing or X thing, and it's not giving results. For example, the current mayor, I think she doubled the amount of, we call it pallet housing, transitional housing for homeless people,
Mhm.
which is a very, amicable, and they're a good program, right? Much needed transitional housing, so you get back on your feet, and then, but at the same time, the homelessness increased in the same period of time. I think it tripled. So like, are we spending money on things that don't work? You know what I'm saying? Where's the money going? How much is being spent on this and that? Like, people have this feeling of not knowing how the money is being spent. So I believe that we should have a more straightforward, easier to understand, easier to see, easier to track kind of finances, and not this 700-page booklet. Nobody's gonna look at it in detail, right?
Right.
So it seems that there's a little bit of shade in there where your everyday citizen is not able to know what's going on in the city. We already have uh, it came in the ballot last year. They try to increase the property taxes. They
Mhm.
have a yearly cap of 1%. They want to take it to 6%. And we are like, okay, yeah, you want more money, you want us to pay more taxes, but what is you actually gonna do with this money? Oh, it's just for the everyday expenditures, public safety, library, this
Mhm.
and that. But don't we already have money for that? And
Mhm.
and at the same time, the city staffing went up, I think, like 20%. So we're like, we feel that we're paying more money and not getting better results.
Gotcha.
So what I think is, we gotta be more accountable. It has to be a more straightforward way, to find out and see where the money's going, how it's being spent, and myself, what I want to do is, I'm going to do a monthly report where, what's going on in the city, what are we doing, what has been proposed, what's being debated. Every month, I'm going to put like a letter, on my social media, sending an email to all my constituents. Because I want people to know what are we doing, me representing them, what I'm doing, to defend their interests.
Mhm. You're
And,
breaking up there a little bit.
people should feel that there's enough transparency on everything.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I know more what's going behind the scenes and all these executive meetings uh, um and all this, backstage. Oh, this is what we decided. Why you decided that, and where the money's going. Yeah, it should be easier, and I'm gonna work for more transparency in that regard.
Got it. That's awesome. I think that it might feel underwhelming to only have 3 items, and I'm gonna kinda pick on that a little bit, but in a positive sense, because you've got housing affordability, you've got public safety, you got transparency. But as we talked, it's very clear that addressing just these 3 things should go a long way toward building a better community. So I applaud you for focusing on the things that matter and for having what I would consider respectable ideas that balance, okay, what do you have to work with? What's the political climate? What are the current regulations? What are the surrounding cities? How are they involved? With libertarian ideas. I think you've done a very good job of that. So kudos to you, sir. Um, before we close the show, because we're going to get out of here, um, what else do you want people to take away from, this show about you or about your candidacy?
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, for libertarians, thinking that we're not gonna make the change just talking on Twitter and
Mhm.
sharing memes in our social media. I know that's great. That's it goes a long way. I also do it. I enjoy it. But we also gotta get to the battlefield. I remember Argentinian president. He uses this word, this phrase like it's good to have a crowd at the game, yelling from outside, but it takes a player to kick the ball to move it.
Mm,
Like people yelling from the sidelines, the ball's not gonna move.
right.
So it's time for us to actually you know start entering more into the actual everyday politics.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take a phrase from the duopoly. Let's say, if we're not on the table, we're on the menu.
Okay.
So if we don't put ourselves out there, we don't put ourselves in our communities. It doesn't have to be run for office. Volunteer and be part of one of the city, how you call it, associations, and like some of the city programs that you actually allowed to influence the decision making of your city. If
Mhm,
you participate in the council, youth advisory council, or
mhm,
planning commission, enter a board or a commission and actually do the work. Let's go out there. It's time to influence our local offices and races.
mhm,
Even if it's not as a candidate, go and be a volunteer and like adopt a road, and they put a little sign with your name out there that you're cleaning that street every couple months. Let's get active and let's get involved in the community. I want to say it like this, less internet and a little bit more involvement in our
mhm,
communities, because I guess in most places libertarians, I guess we're not the most well liked, we don't have the best reputation. But the moment you get involved and you start actually being seen in your community, people's gonna trust you, people's gonna vote for you, not for ideology. A lot of the times it's gonna be more for because they like you and because they see what you do. So it's time to get out there, and I really recommend, if you really have the time, the energy, and you want to learn, like run run for local office.
mhm,
The first time, just put your name there. Get to know some people. You're gonna catch a little bit of experience, but later on, you're gonna be able to go with a bigger race, and you're gonna have a good outcome because people seeing that you're really into this. So it's time to get out there and fight it, guys. Let's do it.
mm. Awesome. I love it, sir. I'm going to put you backstage. If you need to go, that's fine. I understand. If you want to stay, we can talk for a couple moments after the show. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been my pleasure. I enjoyed hearing about your plans and, the direction that you're trying to take Everett. And I wish you a lot of success. I hope that you win your race and that when you get into office, you can really make some positive change, not just for the libertarian name. That's like a side benefit, but really to help out your city. So thank you, sir, for stepping up, and thank you for joining me the show tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor.
So I will put you in the backstage, and then I'll meet you after the show if you're still here.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
stay there.
All right. All right, folks, you heard it. That was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it inspiring and informative, whether you're watching me live right now or whether you're watching later. Please come back and drop a comment. Let me know about your thoughts. Did I miss anything? Do I need to offer a correction? Or maybe you just want to, throw out a little bit of praise and say, hey, good job, DL, or more importantly, good job, Alan, because I think he's doing a good job. And I love seeing and speaking with libertarian candidates. But for now, I'm out. Tomorrow, make sure you tune in at 7:30 a.m. We're going to have Matthew Morgan on. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to have, I lost his name here for a second, Roberto Torres from Toledo. So look forward to two more shows this week with candidates. But with that being said, I will see you guys later. You know that I'm all about supporting organizations that hold my values. Make sure you head on over to blackgunsmatter.shop. They've got apparel, stickers, and more. use the code LibertyDad, all one word, at checkout to score a 10% discount. Or just hit the referral link in the show notes. That'll make it so much easier. Remember, I'm not just a voice on a mic. I'm a dad who's working hard to deliver to you the best libertarian content. Connect with me on Linktree, where you'll find links to my Patreon and buy me a coffee, because every bit helps keep this show rolling. Plus, you can find me on my other platforms to stay in the loop. With your help, this show, The Message of Liberty, will be seen and heard by more people. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.